Hello, everyone. This is Louie,
I'm Candy.
and we are Hordie. Today, we are going to do a quick reaction video of the retiring of her artifact weapon.
I'm terribly sad to see it go.
I'm not. Get that shit out of here.
No. Now I won't have my stupid staff whispering to me. And Alaneth is a jerk.
So,
Jerk face. So the wound in Silithus, where Argus stabbed the planet with his big old sword, it's left a gaping wound in Azeroth. And apparently, we haven't watched it yet, but apparently our artifact weapons are going to have something to do with healing this giant wound in the planet. So the good people at Wowhead have done some data mining for us, and we're going to watch the little cinematic about what's going to happen there.
yep. So, here it is. There is no sound, by the way, just a heads up.
There's music, but no.
Yeah, no dialogue yet.
That was unfortunate.
Okay, so there you have it. Looks like once again the Alliance and the Horde combine, help each other out, which is very interesting considering the new, next expansion. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So yeah, pretty much our weapons shoot their last loads, and that's it.
I guess we'll see. I don't know. It looked like, as when they were done drawing out the poison from the sword, it looked like some of them fell over, and I was like, Jesus, this is gonna kill us. Like, that's terrible. But then it went back to the scene on the ship there, and everybody seemed to be fine. So I guess that was just for, dramatic effect.
And we didn't mention before. WoW did mention in the description on their webpage that the voiceover has not been data mined yet. I should have mentioned that before. I will post a link to the Wowhead URL with that video on it, and you can read some more about it. But that's what we've got for now. I've never been a huge fan of the artifact weapon.
I thought when before Legion came out, sorry, I just can't wear those.
Yeah,
they bother my ears. When you were talking about when the artifact weapons were just like an idea and hadn't actually been implemented yet, we didn't know how exactly they were going to work, and you were telling me about it, I thought that was a really interesting concept. And I think it was a very interesting concept, and I think it was something, new and different. But I think that they just, to put it into practice, I don't think they did a lot of long-term thinking ahead as far as the artifact weapons went and how much you were going to have to invest in them.
And yeah, it was. And it was a huge investment.
I think they've just been kind of a time drain, a pain in the butt, and they made secondary specs like non-existent. It really, really hurt
dual spec,
I think, a lot. of dual spec, and a lot of just alt play kind of suffered throughout this expansion.
And it's for a lot of classes that wasn't a big deal. I mean, you play a mage.
Yeah.
So I mean, usually
so for me,
mages
it really wasn't a huge deal. Like my off spec is still DPS, and so I basically I always preferred arcane anyways, so it really wasn't a huge deal for me. But like he plays a druid.
Yeah.
And so not only do you have 3 weapons, you have 4 weapons.
Yeah, I have 4 weapons.
And every spec is completely different.
Yeah.
Like, completely different. And so just for classes like that, having dual spec or, a secondary
you got
spec
Death Knights, monks, druids, anything that's got utility classes, you're just kind of screwed. Shamans, priests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my priest.
Actually, anybody but warlocks, mages,
hunters,
and hunters.
But if you've got, if you've got like DPS spec and Hilly spec, or DPS spec and tank spec, or all 3, or 4.
Yeah.
In the case of a druid, it just the amount of time you would have to spend farming AP just to make your secondary spec even close to viable is. Yeah, I'm not gonna be sad to see the artifact weapons go. I think that the idea that they're putting forward for the next expansion actually makes more sense.
With the neck,
yeah,
with growing in power as you go, and that one makes more sense because it's a neck piece. So once again, we're losing out on a slot because once you get it, and there's no replacing it. But I think the way that they're approaching it, I think they learned a lot from artifact weapons, and I think that that's a good thing. Is over the last few years, I've noticed Blizzard's been getting a lot better about that. That really learning and taking away from feedback and trying to make things better and better and better instead of sticking to the same thing even when everybody didn't like it. And they still just really tried to stick with it. I think that they're learning and they're trying to really get better. I think they're doing that better. Oh, I think a lot of the community feedback is actually getting through nowadays, and it has to.
Yeah. So basically, I guess we're going to save the world with our artifact weapons, and
there's just something satisfying for most people in replacing gear.
Yeah.
And weapons have always been one of the top go-tos. I mean, when we raided, seriously raided, when we were raiders, it was a long time ago. It was
during
Wrath. And I'm thinking back, if we would have had the artifact weapons then, we would have been screwed. Our Lich King kill probably would have been put off by months.
Yeah.
If I wasn't able to actually go into bearer. And that's what did it for us, honestly. I mean, we were struggling, and eventually they asked me...
ended up swapping some people around.
They asked me to go tank, which I don't normally play.
Yeah, but
I know how to, but I don't.
We did some swapping around, and that was,
And that was the key.
What was the key?
It was me switching and a couple other people switching, and we were able to do that back then. You can't do that now. Unless you dedicate.
Not realistically, people like us can't. No. I mean, we don't raid seriously anymore because we just don't have time for it. Real life takes priority. But back then, even when we did raid, and we never raided like really seriously, like it was pretty casual. But the time that we had to invest in it was fairly minimal, especially you, because you had even less time than I did to invest in things. And so if you'd had to actually farm the AP and stuff like you do now, like to stay viable in raiding, we never would have been able to do it. It's a real time sink, I think.
I mean, with our lives, we're barely at level 75. I can't imagine trying to get 2 weapons that high.
Oh yeah.
That'd be crazy.
That would be insane. Like even and I only have it on my mage.
Yeah.
On my priest, who I have shadow and discipline, even her main one is only at like 69.
Yeah.
And then her,
the catch-up mechanics are great.
One is only at like level 50.
You know, the catch-up mechanics are great, and that you can keep gaining, and with the account bound level, that's great. It's awesome. But those last 5 levels, holy cow!
Yeah, they're kind of ridiculous.
And you're talking about 217 billion.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. So, and then it just keeps going after that.
Yeah,
like the relics are maxed out. But the Concordiance's Legion Fall, it just keeps going.
It was a good idea, and I think it was executed fairly well.
I think so, for being so new and crazy, and nobody
in
really
game,
knew.
And it wasn't alt friendly.
No,
it wasn't off spec friendly, and I think a lot of things weren't alt friendly. I know my alts are a lot less progressed and geared now.
I mean,
than they were.
They tried
pre-Legion.
I think they did.
Compare the two.
I think they've done pretty good throughout the expansion of making it easier to catch up.
Yeah.
For for alts and stuff, but at first it was pretty rough at first.
But anyway,
we kind of went off.
Yeah.
On a side note here, basically back to the original point, we're gonna use our artifact weapons to save the world.
The world.
Seriously, literally.
Not really, yeah.
For reals. And I think that's a fitting last
Bye-bye.
for them. I think a fitting way to send them off is to remove Argus's big nasty sword from our planet.
I'm trying to say something, but nothing.
Yeah, I know. And I did that on purpose.
But that is it for us. Thank you for hanging out with us.
And listening to us ramble.
And tolerating us. Unless you've already left, then.
They probably, nobody's watching right now. Like, okay.
Anyway, until next time, be cool to each other.
Bye.